Welcome back to the second episode of mixing hip hop or electronic. Today we're gonna take a look at individual tracks. So let's get started. First is vocal right here. Alright, this is gonna be first limiter over here at negative 19.9 decibels of threshold, 20:1 ratio, 100 ms release time, and fastest attack time. And we're gonna be compressing 4 decibels over here, and this is also a 4 decibels of makeup gain. Same thing with all of these, the only thing that's different is the threshold. Alright, other than that, they're all pretty much the same. Alright, the purpose of this is to make the vocals more consistent as usual, to make it sound like it's in your face. Alright, moving on. Our third vocal is right here. We stacked another 2 compressors here. The only thing that's different is the threshold. Well, not really. Actually, they're the same, but they're both doing 4 decibels of gain reduction and 4 decibels of makeup gain. Alright, totaling of 8 decibels. Alright, and same thing with this one here. Highest ratio, fastest attack time, 100 ms release, same thing. So in total, this vocal track right here is being compressed by 3 compressors, 3 serial compressions that each of them does 4 decibels of gain reduction and 4 decibels of gain, makeup gain. And then we also have here on our EQ at 17K with a 2.5 Q factor, and our gain is at 10 decibels almost. And that's pretty much it, I think, that's pretty much it. No other changes to that. The purpose of this boost is to have those high frequencies, the breaths, the rasp of the voice to be really boosted, but I don't really want to boost too much of the sibilance, so that's why I chose this boost right here. Alright, moving on. Same thing over here. Triple stacked compressor. Each of them is doing, you already know how I use compressors. I make sure that each one is doing 4 decibels of gain reduction, and each one of them is to a maximum, or to a 1 compressor it will do a 4 decibels of makeup gain, each one of them. Alright, their threshold is at negative 17 decibels, and that's pretty much it. 20:1 ratio, same thing, fastest attack, 100 ms release, and that's pretty much it. And same thing here. The only thing that's different is the threshold. It's at negative 22.4, pretty much the same settings. Alright, moving on. Threshold is at negative 19.2. Each one of these compressors is doing 4 decibels of gain reduction and makeup gain. Same attack time, same release, and same ratio and all of that. And I also pulled out a reverb track right here, or a reverb plugin right here. The purpose of this is to not actually cause the vocals, or this vocal over here, to reverberate, but the purpose of this is so that the vocal would have that stereo separation over here. Alright, moving on. With the hey, I'm gonna show you what this is. That's pretty much it. Alright, I gave it 3 compressors. In total it's being compressed by 12 decibels. Same attack, same release, same ratio. Only thing that's different is the threshold, negative 19.2. Each one is doing 4 decibels of gain reduction and gain compensation. And that's pretty much it. Alright, moving on. I think I said that twice. Sorry about that. Anyway, moving on. This time over here, actually, yeah, this is the hay. Alright, that one. Alright, and then it's pretty much the same thing. 4 decibels each compressor, doing 4 decibels of gain reduction and makeup gain, negative 16.7 decibels of threshold, 22, same ratio, 20 to 1. Fastest attack, 100 ms release, and that's pretty much it. And also I've got here a reverb track, another reverb track, and the purpose of this is to spread this so that it's not just in mono, but its stereo separation is just the normal stereo signal. Unlike with this one here, if you'll pay attention here, the stereo what I did with the stereo separation is I made it to 100% so that it'll only make a sound on the sides and not in the middle at all. This one here, you still have a mono signal and stereo signals. Alright, moving on. This one here is the repeat vocals. I'm gonna show you how it sounds like. That's pretty much it. And all I did was I grabbed 2 compressors that does 4 decibels each of gain reduction and gain compensation. The only thing that is different, it's pretty much the same settings, is negative 15 decibels of threshold, and that's pretty much it. Same attack settings and release settings and ratio settings. Alright, this one here, this is the reverb track for the vocals. I tuned it specifically just to make, I EQ'd it, I carved it so that it's a telephone reverb basically. Alright, it's at 1000 hertz, the low cut, and the high cut is at 3.9 kilohertz. That means to say, what these two are doing is anything that is in between 1008 and 3.9 kilohertz, that's what's gonna go through the reverb, and that's how the reverb is gonna sound like. So if you'll imagine it, that's how it's gonna happen. And I also set up pre-delay for it, 31 ms, room size at 50%, max diffusion. I don't think I should even move this knob, and I didn't move these 2 settings right here. Bass multiplier is at 100, which is at 500 hertz on the crossover, and the decay time, the length of the reverb, is at 1.5 seconds, and the high damp is at 4K to be able to make it sound like a telephone. Basically, what I did with the dry signal is, if you'll pay attention to this fader over here, is I made sure it's at 0%, so that the only thing that you will hear is a reverb. And the reason why I did that is because all of these vocals, well, actually some of them, are going to this vocal reverb right here. Alright, and some of these, some of them are sent over here, and what is this setting? It's at 75%. Yeah, 75%. Is that 75? Yeah, 75%. This one here, the hay, is also at 75%. Actually, this is at 100, I believe. Yeah, it's at 100%. And that's pretty much it. This vocal reverb is sending signal to the vocal bus, and That's what it's basically doing, you know. And what we also have is that all of these vocals are, you know, basically grouped up to, you know, as one, to which would be eventually grouped up with this vocal bus. All right, moving on to the drums, we have our GS clap. Let me show you how it sounds like. You know, that's how it sounds like. It's basically a clap track. And what I did with this is I boosted 1K, 1000 hertz at the Q factor of 1, and the gain is at 1.5. You know, I wanted to make that clap sound kind of emphasized, you know, and I like this spot over here at 1K, and that's why I boosted it. For band token number 6, reason why I did this boost, which is at 6536 hertz and a Q factor of 0.9 and also a gain of 3. Purpose of this is to make the clap sound clearer, and that's pretty much it, you know. Also corrected the gain that you did from these boosts, so there you have it. And moving on to the limiter, this time our attack setting is at 30 ms and our release is at 100 ms. Alright, threshold is at negative 20.6, ratio is at 20:1, and makeup gain is at 4 decibels. Alright, that's the only purpose of this compressor, is to enhance the punch of this clap track right here. Okay, moving on, we have a fruity reverb here, and the purpose of this is to stereo spread this track right here. Alright, reason why I use reverb tracks or reverb plugins for stereo separation is because I really don't wanna I really don't want stereo separation. It's not that I don't like it, it's just that I use this so that when I spread it, it will have that kind of room sound on it, but it's very minimal, you know. And I really wanted this to, you know, be more stereo. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted it to be stereo, and I wanted it also to have a room sound on it. Alright, moving on. We have our, I believe this is our kick. Let's go to our playlist. Yeah. Alright, that's our kick right there. And what we did is we've boosted 63 hertz at the Q factor of 1 at 3 decibels, you know. And I believe that's the root note of the kick, and that's the reason why I boosted it, just to make it, you know, just to make it more pronounced in the mix, in the entire mix. I've also cut a little bit of 126 by 3 decibels at the Q factor of 2. You know, I didn't want it to be too muddy, so I did this cut. And I also gave it a boost at 2K, which is at 3 decibels. Alright, and the Q factor of 1. The purpose of this boost is to kind of open it up at the 2K-ish area, you know, at the, it kind of sounds like a telephone, but it's also the bright part of the telephone. Alright, moving on, we also have our compressor here, same settings of the attack for the drums. For punch, which is at 30 ms attack time and 100 ms on release, 20:1 ratio, threshold of negative 10.8, sorry about that, and also a makeup gain of 4 decibels. We are also compressing, you know me, however much I compressed, I make up gain. So if we compress 4 decibels, we make up gain by 4 decibels as well, just to improve the consistency of this particular track. Alright, moving on. Let's go to the drum loop. I'm gonna show you how it sounds like. Alright, that's how it sounds like. What I did with this is I just gave it a boost at 1139 Hertz. The Q factor is at 1, and the gain is at 12 decibels, you know. Not a very conservative gain right there, you know. Let me show you how it sounds like with the EQ and without the EQ, without first. With the EQ. Alright, it completes the trashy sound of this particular track, okay? And oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, actually I'll just mention it later. Alright, let's move on to the hi-hat. You know, again, well, with this one here, this is a reverb plugin. I only use it for stereo separation, but in this case I have it set at negative 50%, which means that 50% of the signal I've made it mono. Alright, and the rest is still stereo. Alright, moving on. We have our drum room right here, and the purpose of this is a fake drum room, as this drum track doesn't actually have a drum room to it. So we basically set it up so that this drum room, this fake drum room over here, sounds like the entire kit is in a drum room. Alright, our setting is at high cut is at 4 kilohertz, and our low cut is at 100 hertz. Alright, and room size 50%. I didn't tinker with all of that too much, no pre-delays and all of that, you know. And bass multiplier this time is at 90%, and our crossover frequency is at 30 hertz. Alright, but most of all, as of all reverbs, the thing that you really need to look at is the decay time, which is at 1 second, and our high damping is at 10 kilohertz. Alright, that's the only thing that you need to be really concerned about. Again, the dry signal is at 0%, so that the only thing that you will hear over here at the drum room is just the wet signal. Alright, that's pretty much it. All of our settings, I didn't tweak the early reflection level and the wet level and the stereo separation. Alright, that's all I did. Moving on, we've got ourselves our compressor over here, and it's set to all buttons in, you know. All of these, it's possibly the highest ratio possible. Release is at 4, attack is at 1 ms, and that's pretty much it. We choose this black so that we'll be able to kind of make a nuke sound out of it, you know, a little bit. And that's pretty much it. You know, the threshold is at, or the input, actually, sorry about that, is at negative 19.6, and our output is at negative 24.4. Alright, basically what this does is it simulates the drum room sound. Alright, and moving on, actually, before I show you how it sounds like with or without the drum room, we have our final EQ move here at 250 at the Q factor of 1 at negative 1.5 decibels. Alright, did a little bit of cut here. I didn't really want too much boxiness coming from this frequency range right here, you know. And I'll show you how the drums sound like with or without the drum room. Alright, without the drum room. Alright, it gives it a little bit of atmospheric, what do you call that, vibe to it, you know, just with the drums alone. Alright, All right, moving on. Let's go to our 808. Let's go to our 808s. All right, we just grabbed a fast distortion over here. Mix level is at 100%. Threshold is at 50%, and the distortion type is type A, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what we have tweaked. This is my EQ, which is set at 4117 hertz, Q factor of 1, and my gain is at 18 decibels, just to kind of give the 808 a little bit more clarity, from this boost right here. Albeit this track over here, the 808, doesn't have much 4K, so that's why I gave it an 18 decibels boost. Okay, that's the reason of that boost. Moving on, we have our typical two stacked compressors. All right, threshold is at negative 13 decibels. This is the first one, and let's just move it here. Our ratio is at 20:1. Fastest attack 100 ms release, and our gain is at 2.4 decibels. All right, that's how much we are compressing. All right, the second compressor here, it's actually a sidechain, and it's listening. This sidechain compressor is listening to the kick. I wanted the kick to take some space first before this 808, so that's why I grabbed this compressor to function as a sidechain for the kick. I wanted the kick to do its thing first before the 808 would do its thing. I didn't want them to be in conflict of each other. Yes, there are other ways to do that, but I chose it to be this way. That's pretty much it. The only thing that you have to know about this is that it's set at negative 7.1 decibels, 20:1 ratio, fastest attack, and the release is at 50 ms. All right, and that's pretty much it. With those, the reason why I wanted that fastest setting on the release and attack is because I wanted to stop compressing as soon as the kick is not, as soon as the kick is done. So there you have it. All right, our first synth over here. Let me show you how it sounds. All right. The only boost that I gave it is at 246 hertz. Q factor of 1, and gain is at 3 decibels. All right. Why this boost, Mike? You ask. Let me show you why. Because it's a little bit too thin. I wanted to thicken it up a little bit. Alright, and I also gave it a compressor, which is set at negative 18.7 decibels, 20:1 ratio, fastest attack, and 150 ms release time. Alright, just to kind of flatten its dynamic range. Alright, which we are, in this case, we are compressing 4 decibels out of it, and the makeup gain is at 4 decibels. Alright, that's pretty much it. Moving on to the next synth, let me show you how it sounds like. Alright, the only boost that I gave it is at 8K with a Q factor of 0.9 and at 6 decibels. Alright, I wanted to hear those breaths a little more, so let me show you with or without this boost. with the boost. All right, that's the difference. All right, moving on, we have our whistle, which sounds like this. Actually, let's go get to the Alright, that's how it sounds like. The only thing that I did is set the compressor at negative 18.4 decibels. Fastest attack, 100 ms release, 20:1 ratio, and it's also compressing at 4 decibels. Hence the gain, makeup gain is at 4 decibels. Alright, that's pretty much it. And to the last track, we have this high pass filter over here, which is set at 58 hertz, and the Q factor is at 24 decibels per octave. All right, just to kind of clean it up, let me show you how it sounds first. Let's move on to that. Alright, it's a strings track, and the other band token is set at 8K at 0.9, and which is also set at 3 decibels. Alright, the reason for this boost, as you may have already known, is for the high end, for the breath, or actually in this case for the strings, is for the bow as it scratches through the strings, or through the strings, basically, and also got it a reverb. I wanted to spread its with its stereo. The only thing that I messed with is its stereo separation is at 100%. I also made sure that there's no cutoff frequencies involved, just so I wouldn't EQ out those frequencies, as I use this reverb plugin, And that's it, folks. That's it for all of our tracks, our single tracks for this hip hop / electronic music. The thing is, there are other tracks that sometimes would have maybe 30 tracks, but in this case, this one has only 25 tracks. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for tuning into this channel once again. Hit the like button if you like this. If you disliked it, hit it. And if you have something to say, you have the comments down below. If you have maybe suggestions or questions, or maybe you want me to make a video about something, let me know over here at the comment section down below. And be sure to share this video to those who will benefit from this lesson. All right, there are people out there who want to learn how to mix on their own, or in fact, there are people out there who want to learn how to be a mix engineer for these particular genre. So the purpose of this channel, again, as you may have already known, is to show all of the EQ, compressor, reverb, delay, and send, everything, moves, every moves that you might or might not have possibly known that you can actually do for a track such as this. All right, so I need you also to do me a favor and please tell everybody that let them know that they will also be heard, and I will be watching your comments down below here at YouTube. And also make sure that you watch this all through and through, so that you'll be able to learn how to mix this particular track. All right, thank you so much again, guys. I really appreciate it. Love you. God bless. Have a wonderful day.